Hey, what's up guys? Slay712 here. I got a nice little Colombian U21 growth test for you guys. Basically taking the best players that from Colombia under the age of 21. Some of these guys got some great potential. Some of these guys not as much, but I try to put together a nice starting 11, you know, here for Deportivo Cali of some of the best Colombian youngsters, and we're gonna hopefully see how they turned out in the next, I believe it was like 6 seasons, 6, 7 seasons, you know. So first up, Christian Bonilla, a guy you may have seen in my previous video. He's got a very low potential, 74 actually. So if he can get past that, that'd be cool. Next up, Quinones. He's from Porto. He did not feature in the World Cup squad. Neither did Bonilla. Neither did most of these players, to be honest with you. I'd say about less than half of these guys actually did play in the World Cup. Jason Vergara, he actually plays for Milan. Then we have Balanta, plays for River Plate, a nice 75 overall at the age of 19. Santiago Arias plays for PSV, was featured in the World Cup. I've seen this guy play. He's pretty talented. Guillermo Celis. He not recognizable to me before I did this. A player from the actual Colombian National League. And then same thing goes with Gustavo Cuellar. He actually has those showing great potential, so he could turn out to be a nice little player. Then we have James Rodriguez, obviously a familiar face to anyone associated with football. Really nice youngster, you can say that. Alexis Zapata, a player who I believe actually plays in Brazil. Quintero plays for FC Porto, did feature in the World Cup. Brian Pereira plays for Lazio. And then the rest of these guys you're going to see, all players who are already at the club. Some of them I just sold, some of them I just kept. But, yeah. So now we'll start the sim and see how these players turn out. Alright, so here we are. It's 2020, gone 7 seasons in. Let's check out how these studs turned out to be, if they reached their potentials, if they got past their potentials, or maybe if they didn't even get to their potentials. So Bonilla is an example of a player who grew past his potential, which is actually a 74, and in my previous video, he actually only grew +1 throughout the whole simulation because I loaned him out too much. So if there's any advice I could give you guys, is don't loan your players out too much. I know in other growth test videos I've seen, that seems to be, the same big tip. As I scroll through here, you'll see some players under 80 and some players will pass 80, but Santiago Arias is a player who only grew +1 past his original potential of a 77. Nonetheless, still a great player. Vergara looks great, 85. Maybe could even grow another for a center back. I mean, you could still grow at 26 or 27. So who knows? His potential is actually an 81. And if you guys are curious, I've been using a website called Fifa, that is SOFIFA.com, and then you could basically just look up any player's potential on career mode. Now, the reason why I use this as opposed to other sites is because it actually updates weekly. So every week, doesn't happen to every player, but some players' overalls and their potentials do change. So I believe it's the most accurate source as far as predicting player potentials and stuff. And I know I'm kind of haven't been talking too much about the gameplay here, but Celis, Cuellar, both great CDMs, reached a little past their potentials, but not too much. James Rodriguez only got to his potential, which was an 89. I was hoping he'd get in the 90s. Quintero did not get to his potential, which was an 86. He is unhappy because he has not played enough, apparently. Obviously, I've been simming through this, not playing every single game, which would be very, very time consuming. But if I did, obviously he'd be playing every single game. I don't know why he wouldn't be on a team like this, where when I started the sim, they were only a 3-star team. So really most of these players did grow past their potential, but there were cases where that didn't happen. I mean, here's this guy Zapata, who's still 24 years old, so he definitely could grow a little more and get to an 80, and that would put him past his potential, which really is at a 78. And when I was actually, because I did play a couple of games in the seasons, just to, just kind of to get a feel for how these players play, and maybe I'd want to use them one day in a career mode. So, but before that, Brian Pereira, he deserves a round of applause. 88 overall. He's got everything you want from a striker. His original potential is actually an 82, so he grew the most out of any player on this team. He even acquired a specialty of the aerial threat in doing so. But what an animal he is. So back to the rest of the team. All these guys were here before. That some I told you I sold, some I kept, and you'll see that. And even these guys grew past their potentials. Not all of them, but many of these guys still grew past their potentials. There you saw Quinones, who he was originally in the starting 11, but the other guy who was at left back, Johan Mojica, he actually grew past him. So that was kind of interesting that the other player grew past him, even though Quinones has a higher potential. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. It was really nice to see these Colombians grow. Maybe this is telling us that the Colombians will be back in World Cups to come. Of course, especially with a player like James Rodriguez, the recent Madrid man. So, I hope you guys like that. Next up, I'll do a USA under 21 video where we'll see how the likes of Yedlin and Green grow. But for now, hope you guys enjoyed it, and peace.